There has been massive developments regarding Newcastle's transfer plans. So from a massive bid submitted for Yoane Wissa, to a massive new contract offer being done amid Manchester City's interest, to massive market opportunities coming out of London. We'll also discuss the latest on James Trafford and Alexander Isak. As per, join us as we'll break it all down and discuss the latest Newcastle United transfer news.
Let's go!
Starting off, Newcastle United's pursuit of Brentford forward Yoane Wissa has intensified, with fresh developments emerging. Following last week's reports that the Magpies were exploring a move for the Congolese international, The Athletic's David Ornstein now confirms that Newcastle have seen an opening £25 million bid rejected. That offer slightly surpassed the figure Nottingham Forest proposed earlier this month, but it wasn't enough to convince Brentford to sell. Despite the initial rejection, Newcastle remained determined to sign the 28-year-old. Encouragingly, it's believed that agreeing personal terms would not be an issue. Ornstein adds that Wissa is expected to hold face-to-face discussions with Brentford's hierarchy regarding his future. There is growing belief that the forward is keen to leave West London in search of European football. BBC Sport's Sami Mokbel has since reported that Wissa has left Brentford's training camp in Portugal due to the uncertainty surrounding his future. He's set to meet with the club's director of football, Phil Giles, a Newcastle supporter himself, to discuss next steps. The player is fully aware of ongoing interest from Newcastle, Tottenham Hotspur, and Nottingham Forest. While both Newcastle and Spurs can offer Champions League football next season, Forest are in the Europa League following Crystal Palace's drop to the Europa Conference League. Newcastle appear to be pushing hard to complete the signing of Wissa, who netted 20 goals last season. However, Spurs remain a potential stumbling block, especially now that former Brentford manager Thomas Frank has taken charge at the North London club. Sky Sports reporter Keith Downie has revealed that Newcastle are preparing an improved offer of £30 million plus add-ons. Writing on X, formerly Twitter, Downie states that direct talks are underway, and there is optimism that a deal will be agreed soon. This view is echoed by Craig Hope of the Mail, who reports that Brentford may accept the new bid. Although the club previously valued Wissa at £50 million, that figure is likely to drop now that the player has expressed a desire to move on. With only a year remaining on his current contract, excluding a possible one-year extension, Brentford risk losing Wissa for free next summer. As such, they may see this window as the ideal time to sell. If Newcastle do manage to complete the deal for around £30 million, it would represent smart business, bringing in a proven Premier League forward who has scored 32 goals over the last 2 seasons. Wissa could serve as a long-term replacement for Callum Wilson and form a dynamic strike partnership with Alexander Isak. Tottenham do pose the biggest threat to Newcastle's hopes. In addition to Champions League football, they can offer Wissa the chance to remain in London and reunite with Thomas Frank. However, Spurs have already reinforced their attacking options this summer, signing Mathys Tel from Bayern Munich and Mohamed Kudus from West Ham. In contrast, Newcastle's current setup seems tailor-made for a player like Wissa. Eddie Howe's attacking philosophy, along with the opportunity to compete at the highest level in Europe, makes St James's Park an attractive destination. Still, with several initial targets, our so-called Plan A, B, and C no longer available, it might also be time to explore alternative market opportunities. Interestingly, Chelsea could offer 2 viable options, Christopher Nkunku and Trevoh Chalobah. Nkunku's £52 million move to Chelsea hasn't gone as planned, with injuries and inconsistent form limiting his impact. However, the French international remains a player of real quality. His track record speaks volumes: 58 goals in his final 2 seasons at RB Leipzig, and 17 goal involvements in 31 Champions League appearances. At 27, he's still in his prime and offers tremendous versatility, capable of playing anywhere across the front line or in a central attacking midfield role. This flexibility could be a perfect fit for Eddie Howe's fluid attacking system. The main hurdles are his high wages and recent dip in form, which have impacted his reputation at Stamford Bridge. That said, The Athletic report Chelsea would be willing to let him go for just over £40 million, potentially a bargain for a player of his caliber. A Chelsea source even suggested Newcastle could make a move. In fact, recently Fabrizio Romano said, "Christopher Nkunku's exit from Chelsea this summer remains almost guaranteed. Nkunku wants to play more with several top clubs keen in the background. Chelsea are open to selling him since January. More contacts will follow soon. So given his availability, European pedigree and creative potential, it wouldn't be a surprise if he's on our radar." Turning to defense, Chalobah is another Chelsea player reportedly available this summer. The 26-year-old is admired by many at Newcastle and would bring Premier League experience, positional versatility, and athleticism to the back line. His character is equally impressive, having fought his way back from setbacks to earn respect at Stamford Bridge. Despite performing well at the Club World Cup and earning praise from new boss Enzo Maresca, the Athletic claims Chelsea are willing to listen to offers for the 6 feet 4 inches defender. This comes as Chalobah reportedly seeks assurances over his role, especially with Wesley Fofana returning to fitness. If moves for other centre-back targets, like Mark Guehi or Atalanta's Giorgio Scalvini, prove too expensive or unfeasible, Chalobah could present a smart, lower-cost alternative. With a history of resilience, physical presence, and tactical flexibility, he could slot into multiple defensive roles at St James's Park. Newcastle may not expect favours from Chelsea, but the West London club's bloated squad, rising wage bill, and apparent need to sell make this an intriguing situation. With players like Nkunku and Chalobah seeking more consistent minutes, and Chelsea reportedly chasing high-profile targets like Xavi Simons, exits are inevitable. Some fans may be wary of picking up Chelsea's fringe players, but the successful loan signing of Lewis Hall proves that value can be found if the scouting and fit are right. However, on the other hand, Newcastle United's hopes of signing James Trafford appear to be fading, as their long-standing pursuit of the Burnley goalkeeper faces a major hurdle. The Magpies recently saw a £27 million bid rejected by Burnley, but have not withdrawn from negotiations just yet. Trafford is understood to be open to a move to St James's Park, provided an acceptable offer is agreed between the clubs. However, the deal has been complicated by renewed interest from Trafford's former club, Manchester City. The Premier League champions are exploring the possibility of bringing the 21-year-old back to the Etihad as they prepare for potential changes in their goalkeeping department. Trafford joined Burnley from City in 2023 for an initial £15 million. Crucially, the deal included a £40 million buyback clause and a 20% sell-on fee, giving City significant leverage in any negotiations. This puts Newcastle at a disadvantage, especially if City are able to strike more favourable terms with Burnley. Transfer expert Fabrizio Romano reports that Trafford has also agreed to return to Manchester City should the clubs find common ground. Rather than triggering the full buyback clause, City are currently in talks with Burnley to negotiate a lower fee. Romano wrote, "More on James Trafford and Man City exclusive story. Trafford has accepted to return to Man City if the two clubs reach an agreement. He's keen on the move. City are in talks with Burnley to reduce the £40 million buyback clause. Deal still depends on a goalkeeper exit. Manchester City are preparing for possible exits in their goalkeeping ranks, with both Edison and Stefan Ortega attracting transfer interest this summer. Trafford is seen as a familiar and promising option to provide cover or competition. That said, City are also weighing up other possibilities. A new twist emerged from Portugal, where reports suggest Pep Guardiola's side are now targeting Porto's Diogo Costa. The 25-year-old is Portugal's current number one, recently helping his country win the UEFA Nations League. Costa is available for around £52 million and has an impressive record with Porto, having made 197 appearances and won 2 Primeira Liga titles after rising through the club's academy system. Then, Alexander Isak's future at Newcastle United has become the centre of intense speculation this summer, and the situation continues to escalate. The Swedish striker missed the club's recent pre-season clash against Celtic, with manager Eddie Howe confirming that his absence was due to ongoing transfer speculation. Since then, Isak has been spotted training alone, further fueling uncertainty about his situation. Despite strong interest from Liverpool, Newcastle are determined not to sell their star forward. Instead, the club is eager to secure his long-term future by offering a new and improved contract. According to reports from Geordie Bootboys, Newcastle are willing to make Isak the highest-paid player in the club's history. However, negotiations have hit a roadblock. While Newcastle are prepared to break their current wage structure, Isak's demands have reportedly taken the club by surprise. Speaking on the matter, transfer expert Graham Bailey revealed that Isak is seeking a deal worth £300,000 per week, a figure significantly higher than Newcastle were expecting. It is obviously a lot. It is at the higher end of what you would expect he would want. It is a lot. Is it unreasonable? It's in the right ballpark when you're dealing with a world-class player. It's a big decision for Newcastle to make. Newcastle have been willing to go up to £200,000 a week. They are willing to break their wage structure, but I am not so sure if that will be enough. Newcastle were not expecting his demands to be at that level, from what I am told. They were shocked, but that is not to say they are refusing to pay him what he wants. Newcastle are still adamant that he is not going to be sold. That remains their stance at this moment in time, Bailey said. Newcastle's top earners, Bruno Guimaraes and a few others, currently earn no more than £160,000 a week. The club's offer to Isak would already break new ground, with a £200,000 a week contract translating to £10.4 million annually. However, Isak's desired figure would cost the club £15.6 million per year, leaving a £5.2 million gap in valuation. This difference in expectations has left both sides at an impasse. Newcastle want Isak to be their highest paid player, but he's asking to be in a league of his own. The pressure is only intensifying with Liverpool set to confirm the signing of Hugo Ekitike, a move that may directly impact Isak's future. According to Sky Germany's Patrick Berger, Ekitike will earn between £250,000 and £267,000 per week at Anfield after signing a 6-year deal. These numbers show the financial muscle Newcastle are up against. The club simply cannot match the wage levels of the league's traditional elite. Yet if they want to keep elite players like Isak, they may have no choice but to rethink their wage structure. Newcastle now face a pivotal decision: stand firm on their offer, or raise the stakes to secure one of the most gifted strikers in world football. A compromise may still be found, but the clock is ticking. If Newcastle believe Isak is truly world-class, they must be prepared to pay him accordingly, or risk losing their talisman to a club willing to meet his demands. However, on the other hand, Newcastle United are preparing to offer Tyno Livramento a new long-term contract in an effort to fend off growing interest from Premier League champions Manchester City. The 22-year-old fullback, who joined the Magpies from Southampton in August 2023, has quickly become a key figure in Eddie Howe's squad. He has overtaken Kieran Trippier as the club's first-choice right-back, and even impressed on the left flank during Lewis Hall's injury absence, most notably in the League Cup final against Liverpool. Although Livramento is already under contract until June 2028, Newcastle are eager to reward his performances and reinforce their commitment by offering a new 6-year deal. The proposed contract would significantly increase his wages, placing him among the highest earners at the club, a clear move to deter any potential suitors. Manchester City, in search of a replacement for Kyle Walker, have been monitoring Livramento closely. Reports suggest they would be willing to pay £65 million for the England under-21 international. However, Newcastle have placed an £80 million valuation on the player, which has so far discouraged City from making a formal offer. While Newcastle remain determined to keep Livramento, they are also exploring backup options. Juventus's Nicolo Savona has been identified as a potential target if circumstances change. Livramento, currently on holiday following his involvement in the UEFA European Under-21 Championship with England, missed Newcastle's opening pre-season match, a 4-0 defeat to Celtic. The Magpies are now focused on bouncing back in their next friendly fixture against Arsenal. Given Livramento's rapid development, versatility, and long-term potential, Newcastle view tying him down to an improved deal as a top priority heading into the new season, and a clear signal of their intent to build around young elite talent as they return to Champions League football. Then, in a massive update, if you would like to know the scary truth about Jacob Murphy you don't know about, click the video link on screen now.